One of the many perks of living by New York City, and I'm not the least bit embarrassed about this brag, is the ability to go watch movies on an IMAX 70mm screen, a venue best suited for sci-fi films, Christopher Nolan films, and sci-fi films made by Christopher Nolan. Before the purists come at me, yes, of course, other movies play here as well, but what I'm wondering is, just because you experience a film in its best natural habitat, does it become a good film? Well, that's just a roundabout way of saying that the movie I'm talking about today, one I had booked weeks in advance, might not have eventually risen to the very high bar it was held to. Let us get together and talk about Phil Lord and Christopher Miller's Ryan Gosling, Sandra Hüller starrer, Project Hail Mary, now in movie theaters. Well, hello, my name is Sucharita. I'm an independent film critic who publishes reviews, interviews, and film festival coverage all on this one channel. Feel free to take a look around and subscribe if you like what you see. But for now, let's get into Project Hail Mary. Here's a quick look at the trailer.
I'm not an astronaut.
If you don't go, you die. We're the rest of us.
Let's recap the story a bit without giving much away. An international space organization has discovered that the sun is slowly being eaten alive by a newly discovered celestial phenomenon, and that in the next 30 years, the star might fully go out. Everybody will die. Nations then come together and appoint a team of scientists to deal with it, headed by Eva Stratt, played by Sandra Hüller. Eva, in turn, recruits Dr. Ryland Grace, who is a scientist and a high school teacher. In his earlier published work, Grace had made a hypothesis that is of particular interest to this space mission. One thing leads to another, and a reluctant Grace finds himself jettisoned off into space to figure out how to save the planet. There he meets an alien life form, and the destiny of the universe is changed forever. Sitting down to write this review, I felt like Ryland waking up in space, slightly disoriented, trying to get my thoughts together, wondering if I imagined or hallucinated some of the many things happening in this film. For someone who has not read the book, Project Hail Mary proceeds at 2 breakneck speed, and if you aren't working hard to fill in the blanks in between subplots and sequences, chances are that you will get left behind. This is a film that is so excited about what it is and how cleverly it is headed to a big science-y conclusion, it tends to jump over too many details. The result is a screenplay that is largely held together thanks to actor Ryan Gosling's immense disarming charm. Amid the chaotic build-up and, dare I say, messy conclusion, Gosling, unsurprisingly, is the sole person who remains connected to a reality the viewer might comprehend. His quips, silly dances, and slapstick humor tether the film to the audience like an astronaut to ship. Project Hail Mary is most effective, and Ryland is allowed to express his exasperation at how impossibly complicated the whole situation is, when the journey is more internal than external. The two never quite coalesce into an effective whole. Like the book, the movie too follows a non-linear structure, which frankly is quite wonderful and contributes to the mystery behind why this high school teacher is chosen to stop whatever gymnastics planet Venus is up to in the solar system. This design also allows us to interact regularly back on Earth with Sandra Hüller, which is a wonderful, often appearing bonus. By the way, I have a very special guest joining me at the end of this review, an actual research science guy, someone with whom I have already vehemently disagreed about the film, so wait till the end to hear from this person, especially if you too are an Andy Weir Project Hail Mary, the book, fan, and you don't mind spoilers. That at the end.
Try this.
I am Rocky. I like.
So despite its rapid pace, the science in Project Hail Mary is not entirely inaccessible. We've seen enough science fiction, space movies to pick up on most of what is being mentioned. It just doesn't contribute much to the emotional reaction one is expected to have to this film. A stranded human befriending a stranded alien, both helping each other survive, is tear-jerking stuff, especially when it's Ryan Gosling and a teeny tiny hyper-intelligent creature named Rocky who cannot see but slowly learns to talk. The film, however, aside from a couple of short sequences, doesn't allow its viewers to feel the weight of the decisions Ryland and Rocky make in space when confronted with literal existential crises. Neither tragedy nor comedy is given enough space to bloom. Look, Project Hail Mary is a flight of fancy. The directors, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, are known for breaking storytelling molds over and over, my favorite being the Spider-Verse movies that they created. They've tried so many new things that there is a Wikipedia page dedicated to the unrealized projects attributed to the duo, the things that they tried. The same is true for accomplished screenplay writer Drew Goddard, who had also adapted the very fun The Martian for Ridley Scott to direct. All their powers combined here, though, result in a film that's more disorderly than trailblazing. The film is in theaters if you'd like to go and watch. Now, here to comment further on Project Hail Mary is an actual scientist, Dr. Professor Daniel Erchick.
It is time go.
I think you mean go time, pal.
Welcome to my channel, Dr. Professor Erchick. How are you?
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. I haven't heard of your channel before, but it's nice to be a guest.
Well, I hope you subscribe by the end of this conversation. Now, tell me, as somebody who's a super fan of the book, who was so excited, more excited than I was to go watch this film, what did you think of the film?
Well, I mean, obviously, I love the book. I read it in a flash. It was one of the quickest reads I've ever had. And because of that, going into the movie, I was super stoked and I loved it. I had a blast. I can see some of the criticisms that, one might make, but I had a great time.
What is it that is not in the film that was in the book that you really loved? And of course, there's going to be a bunch of spoilers here. Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, there are a number of things that were in the book that were not in the film. The biggest thing for me, I think, was sort of this sense of surprise, this sense of awe. In the book, when you kind of get that description of the son dying, it is really shocking. Whatever Andy Weir did, he gave you this sense that you're really there, this is normal life, and suddenly the son's dying. That was, a shock to the system. Similarly, you go into space, you have no idea that aliens are coming. So when Rocky's ship shows up, it's really quite something. And, I think because the film moves so quickly, those surprises didn't really have time to land before, you're moving into scenes similar to what we saw in Arrival and other alien films where you're teaching the alien to speak English and so on. So I think if it had a little bit more time to breathe, we would have enjoyed.
And what is it that you really liked in the movie that was not in the book that surprised you? Something along those lines?
I mean, Ryan Gosling is amazing. He's so fun, you put him in any film, you're gonna have a good time. He really added a lot of levity. The jokes were there to an extent that you didn't see in the book. So that is a lot of fun.
Now, from a scientist's POV, does it land? Does it work? Does it science? Is it legit?
I have no idea. I'm not a physicist, and despite what people think of scientists, our fields are, very sort of narrow. So, I couldn't tell you.
Now, there is one thing that I do at the end of every video, and that is a relation-made recommendation. If people like Project Hail Mary, the book or the movie, what would you recommend that they check out?
I have more things to say about the movie and the book, actually. One thing I really wanted to say. Nobody told me how much time I have today, so I'm going to take advantage of it. But one thing I thought is that in the film, really, it was Grace who was solving all the problems. In the book, Rocky was just as big a contributor. Rocky the alien. Yeah, the alien. He's a computer. That's one thing that didn't really come across in the movie. He's able to do, complex mathematical calculations in his head. So they really both had their strengths and weaknesses. And I felt like it was two beings in the universe coming together to solve a problem. The kind of happy feeling that we need more of these days, and they didn't come through. But back to your relation-made recommendation.
Dr. Erchick, I'm feeling very insecure.
Yeah, I got a whole book full of notes. So I can
because you clearly can do this job that I do. I can't do the job that you do. So I'm feeling a little bit insecure about this stuff.
True.
But yeah,
it was like the 15th take, by the way. So that's what it took to get to this point.
What would you recommend our viewers watch?
I mean, you had probably everyone has seen The Martian. We've now talked about Hail Mary. The other book that Andy Weir has written is Artemis. I've also read that one. I thought it was great. It's a lot of fun. It's sort of similar. It's not quite as science heavy as the other two, but it's right up there, and I hope they make a movie of it. I'll be the first in line.
Well, there you go. This was Dr. Professor Daniel Erchick, and for those who do not know, he's also my husband. My name is Sucharita. If you liked what you saw today, what are people supposed to do?
Thanks for stopping by.
And also subscribe and become a channel member. And thank you to channel members. And I'll see you around. I'm very insecure because this man can do pretty much everything. Thanks.
Bye.